So once you find your course, click it, and you'll see all these GUI-based options. I'm looking at this as a student. Other classes may have more options here. All depends on if you deal with modules and stuff. But the way I believe in just brass tacks. It's only what you need. You don't want to read chapters, you know anything? That's what I'm here for. My job is to take the textbook, put it into words and videos, and then we'll go from there. So in your calendar and syllabus, if you look at the syllabus, as you see here, here's our class. Now, if this method here, this says here, we use our primary form of communication in this course is not emails, not phones, it's Remind. Because Remind goes directly to our phones. As we can see, our phones are never more than 2 feet away from us at any point, even when we're asleep or in the shower. It's always within hand's reach away. So that way also, it'll allow you to contact me 24/7. Because some of y'all may work or something may happen and you won't get home like after midnight. But if that's the case and you have trouble, if you have problems and stuff, send me a message, citizen. Can we meet after I get off work or whatever at this? I have no problem. 24/7, 7 days a week. I mean, I am yours for the next 16 weeks. All right. So you send me a message through Remind. And then also that'll help me whenever I have an announcement to make all the students. I will send it this way. Who's going to get your phone? Let's say, for example, I just had my top left molar cracked, and they took it out a week and a half ago. And in a few weeks, they're going to put in whole new stuff, which means they're going to cut my face up to pieces again. I may not be able to talk for a day or two. So in that case, I'll send you a message. Listen, we're not going to meet tomorrow because I hate students when they come to class and they're waiting, and all of a sudden there's a note. Oh, teacher's not here today. That's not fair to you guys. As soon as I know if anything happens, I won't be here. If I'm called away at a meeting or something, I will let you know the minute I find out if we won't have class or not, or if I'm going to be late. All right. So I hate when students have to sit there and wait before anybody knows anything. So that's why I'm going to use Remind. If you have any questions, then we'll do that as well. If we can't resolve anything, your questions by Remind, if I say, okay, look at the second step. When you send me a message, if you have a question, take a picture of whatever you're working on, the problem and what you're working on, so I can see it and back to you. I can either respond to you. Worst case scenario, if we have to, then we'll click on this, and then that'll take you straight to the Zoom meeting. And then this camera, this piece of paper, my voice, and our voices will communicate that way. So that way, it's the same as you being in class. Only thing about it, you won't be able to see me. It's just that I'll write everything, and I'm show you in a second what it looks like and how we're going to do it. So it's a lot easier that way. So this button here will get you, or if you have your cell phone, you could type this message and send it to this number, not the pound sign, just the 818-810. And that's going to register you so that any messages we have back and forth. All right. So that's communication. If you send it in email, it only works if I get on my email. As you can see, I have many other things to get to first before I get to my email. And I may not get to my email till late. And think about it. Let's say on Saturday afternoon at 10 or Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, you're doing some homework. You send me an email. I have a problem with this problem. I have a question with this problem. You send it to me. I check it at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Well, I can't respond. I could say, okay, here's this, how to solve it. You won't get to it the next day. So you wasted an entire day of waiting for me to get back with you. Remind, no. I will usually check my Remind messages every hour or two. Unless I'm otherwise busy, then I'll get to it as soon as I can. If I'm at a movie or swimming or exercising or doing something. Even if I'm dinner, I'll check it every now and then. Because again, your time is more important to me than anything else for the next 16 weeks. But As soon as 6 weeks over, you're dirt to me. Yeah, nothing. No, so if you ever need anything after that, I'm always here for you all. As you can see also here, let me see, where's that? I don't really have office hours. I have student hours because me sitting in a room waiting for somebody to show up is ridiculous. It's inconvenient for you to begin with, and it's just wasting my time because I can do other things. If you have a question, send me a message. And there's also actually somebody this morning, one of my students who missed my class this morning, called me on this number. This is my Google number, my Google phone number. And if it's dire, dramatic, you need to talk to me is automatically, then call me there. But that's again, that's like a bad signal, only if it's necessary. Otherwise, not send me a remind message and I'll get back with you. So all my office hours are virtual unless you need me face to face, and then that's what this is for. This is this is cool. All my lectures will be done with this. This is our class. That's our room. You have until the second to drop out the course with a W. Anything after that, it is with whatever grade you have. But with my classes, I always beg my students, do not, unless it's something that it's out of your control and you you can't do school at all, do not drop a course because you paid for it once. Talk to me first and we can work something out. If it's like you're going to be, something happens, you have to be gone for a month or so and you're going to be behind work, don't worry about it. Talk to me, we'll work it out. And then I could give you an extension at the end of the semester if needed. So again, I don't want to see you guys waste your time and money with what you've done so far. I mean, some of y'all are repeating this course, and the stories I hear are atrocious of why you're repeating this course. It's the teacher is there for you, and everything should be done, said, and created just for you guys. That's the course description. We're gonna pretty much take everything from beginning with the slope, going on to derivatives and integrals, antiderivatives, to learn rates of change, to learn surface areas, to learn volumes under curves. That's what we're gonna learn. More stuff we're gonna learn. More stuff we're gonna stress on. The textbook, your textbook is included in this course. It's online. And you don't you don't really need anything because it's my job. My lectures is I take what's in the book and take away all the fluff words and stuff and put it down on paper in this way, shape, manner, and form that you understand, which is what school's all about. Because reading math is boring. Math access, technology required, need a computer. Other requirements you need to have. Make sure, always make sure that your email and your phone numbers that's on eConnect is correct. Because that's the only way we have a lot of times to get a hold of you if that's something's important. In other words, if some students are falling behind, what I like to do, I have to call them is, listen, is everything okay? Is you haven't done anything in this class so far? Is everything okay? Graded work. The syllabus and remind tests. It's hard to, it's either 100 or 0. It's either you do it or you don't. What the remind test is I'll show you in a second. It'll be 4 math questions. You work it out, basic algebra questions, and take a picture of it, or you can send me the responses that you got on a remind message. That shows me that 1, you're registered in remind, and 2, you know how to use it. Because again, I can't tell you the number of students who didn't register for remind, and during this course of the semester, I send a lot of stuff out. They didn't get any of it. So they're that far behind. So again, I'm not going to use emails so much. I'm going to use Remind more than anything. The syllabus test is just that. It'll be some questions that you just looked over the syllabus, or just basically, again, these are not going to be impossible questions. It's like, how many credits is this course? Uh, how do what is the main communication method of this course? Stuff like that. How many tests are we going to have? How many homework assignments, or what's the third homework assignment? So it's just stuff like that. So just so you can look at the syllabus and tell me that you went through it once, because that's what I'm supposed to verify. Your homework, all of your homework averaging together will be 1 grade. You have an infinite number of chances to finish your homework, and it'll keep the best score. Chapter tests. We'll have 4 chapters, chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5. Each chapter will have their own test. You have 3 chances at the tests. If you need more, send me a message and I'll increase it. I do this because anybody can pass this course if they're cheating. But what's the purpose of cheating if you need to learn this thing? Because if you don't learn it now, in Calculus 2, you're going to fail in the first week. You won't be able to do any of this stuff. So that's why honesty, integrity are more important than anything in this course. All of your assignments, all your work, all your tests will be online. Take them when you're ready. Again, I don't want to pressure you like, okay, we have a test tomorrow at this time, study. I just put external pressure on you that is not really necessary. And you're in an environment where you don't do your homework. You're sitting in a classroom for lectures. And then the only other time is when you're taking a test. That's pretty harsh. You do most of your work at the kitchen table, in your bedroom, or wherever. You feel comfortable there. So take your test there as well. And I will keep the best score. However many times you take it, it'll keep only the highest score of all the times you take it. I will also have practice tests, review tests, where they will, whatever score you get on those, the best score, I will take 10% of that as bonus points for your test. Now, yes, that sounds great. Because if you've made an 80 on the practice test, how many points do you get added to your test? Yes, out of all the classes, especially stats, man. Yes, if you made 80, 10% of that is 8. Just move the decimal one to the left. That's many points. If you made an 84, I round it up. If you made an 84, you get 9 points. Those are free points given to you on a test. Free points because you already did some work. I'm rewarding you doing work. It is extra work. That's why I give you extra points. It's up to you. You can use it or not. I've had students who finish this course with higher than 100 average because those are the ones I knew were going to do great in this course because they took all the practice tests. They did multiple attempts at the tests and the final exam. So that's going to be each point 100. And the final exam is comprehensive. It'll be worth 200 points. And there's a practice final also, and that's worth 20%. And you have 3 tries at that. Keep the best score. So again, do not cheat. You have access to me 24/7. You have, and I'll tell you more stuff you have access to before all this stuff's done. Don't cheat. There's no reason to it. Because how would it look if you made a A in Calculus 1, but in Calculus 2, and you can't make a passing grade on any of the tests? That looks horrible on both you and me. And that's why I should have you guys sign a note saying, whatever grade I get is not because of the instructor, it's because of me. Because yeah, you guys are not dumb. I know you guys know where the apps are online on your phone to take a picture of the problem and it'll work it out for you. Oh, And then, yeah, exactly. You have no idea what it's spitting out. And then even if it's the right answer, you don't know what it means. Might as well give it to you in Chinese. It's just going to be the same. So don't do that. Don't. Because with my way of lecturing, I live stream all my classes because life happens. Let's say, for example, next Monday, something happens. You're driving up here and something happens. There's an accident, or you or somebody in your family gets sick and you have to take care of them, and you can't come to class. So, well, you can stay home and watch and participate with this online stuff on the Zoom. A lot of students like it because if I ask a question, how many students usually spit out the answer? At most two, if I'm lucky. And if you ask the other students why, they're embarrassed. In case I'm wrong, I don't want to look stupid. But what if everybody in this room was in a different part of the building and I ask a question and you spit it out, you spit out an answer and it's wrong? Would it matter? Can anybody see you? They don't know who it was. That's the benefit of if you want to, if you think you need to, you do this online. Stay at home or if you're at work. That's one thing. I live stream, so everything I say and do is recorded. That's what these pieces of paper are here. Let me switch over to that. Six divided by two times three. What's the answer? Okay, one. Anybody else? Who thinks it's one? Stand up. Okay, look at everybody. It's the only one brave. See, if you were at home, nobody see you. Everybody else gets zeros. What'd you get? No, you got a zero? Oh yeah, there's definitely not zero. I bet you used this word that is never pronounced in my presence. Yes. Because something like that. But in Europe and the rest of the world, they use something called bedmass or bedmass. Yeah, something like that. It's parentheses. I forgot the E. Yeah, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Brackets, exponents, division, multiplication. So the US uses this. 9 times out of 10 will get this wrong. Europeans will 9 times out of 10 get this correct. Why? Because of the order of these two. And that's why I always stress order of operations. The reason I don't like either one of those other two is because parentheses, exponents, brackets, and exponents. Are there any more symbols in mathematics? First thing you do is special operations. Parentheses, brackets, absolute values, radicals, nth radicals, factorials, which are in statistics, integrals, Double integrals, we'll get also the calculus 1, 2, and 3. Derivatives, dy dx. There are over 400 of them. But yet, all they want us to do is parentheses exponents. So, blah. Second, after we do all those, is one more important than the other? They're inverses of each other. Likewise, those, they're inverses, they're opposites of each other. Mathematics is a philosophy. It's a language. It's a philosophy of logic. How you think, because did you ever think about why they call the things we give you problems? How many problems do you have on your homework assignment? How many problems are on the test? It's not an accident why they call them problems, because they're issues that you're faced with. You're faced with stuff like this every day in your life. At home, you walk into the kitchen, you see water on the floor. That's your problem. How do you fix it? Shut off the water. It's a hierarchical thing to do. Shut off the water, find the leak, fix the leak, and turn it back on, clean the floor. Mathematics is the same way. We are faced with problems. We get in a situation, we analyze it, we see what we have to deal with, and let's go from top down to solve it. So with this, more importantly, it's a language. When you read, how do you go? Left to right. You do the same thing in mathematics. Left to right. Are there any special operations? No. So we're done with the top ones. Are there any multiplication divisions? Right here's the first one. 6 divided by 2 is? Any special operations? No. Multiplication division? Yes. And there's your answer. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad at all. Actually, I'm glad you said that, because this is a research I've been doing for years. Even graduate students do the same thing. And that way I can tell you pretty much what method you use and what country pretty much you learned math from. So it's better to see the bracket is all spectrum? Yes. It's whatever you get to left and right. It's first and left, yes. For example, here's this. Read left to right. Are there any special operations? Yes. And this is solving math. You use what are called algorithms. What's an algorithm? Yeah, it's an instruction set. So here's our instructions. Read left to right. Here's a bracket. Where does it match to? It matches to that one. So we have to do inside the brackets first, according to order of operations. So inside here, read left to right. Any parentheses or brackets or anything? Yes. Here it is. So now we do that. Read left to right. Any special operations inside there? No. Multiplication division? Yes. So you work your way inside out. Want me to finish this? Or you're okay? Let's finish this. While we're this far, let's go for it. 2 times 5 is 10. Repeat the process again. It's a iterative operation. You keep on doing over and over. Left to right. Any special operations? Yes. This one pairs up with that one. So we look inside. Special operations. So we do inside here. 10 minus 4. Repeat the process. Special operations? Yes. Inside here, any special operations? There's a bracket, but can we do anything inside there? So we don't need the brackets. We can drop the brackets. So what we're left with here so far and repeat the process. Now inside here, so we're left to right, 3 plus 6. Brackets, or parentheses mean, 9 plus 2. Now you get to the second most common problem with mathematics and students. What will hurt your grades, kill your grades more than anything? That little symbol there. That little symbol there will ruin your score because it's more the aesthetics that a lot of students, when they do a bunch of work, they'll say, there's negatives, but it's missing a negative somewhere. I'll just say, sure, I think the answer should be negative. So people just change the answer. Or they'll lose track of where it is. So yeah, it's very important. And I'm going to stress these as we start going through this, all the rules there are of negatives and positives and what they are. Because yeah, again, it sounds Mickey Mouse. You guys took algebra and passed it. So it took pre-calculus, passed it. But again, I can't stress enough. You cannot review math enough. Because you have to know algebra. Ideally, what I should do on the first day of class is give you the final exam for algebra. Because that would give me a better idea of where everybody's starting. Because when we start calculus, we start in the part of in chapter 2, slopes. Not chapter and in chapter 1, slopes. That is what it's all about. What is calculus? That's what it's consisting of. But what's the history behind calculus? Who? What were their names? Gottfried von Leibniz. Isaac Newton is given credit for calculus. The only reason for this is because where he lived. Who invented calculus? The Academy of Science in London, England. Well, Isaac Newton lived in England. So that's for him walking from here to Grand Prairie. Gottfried von Leibniz, German, lived near Austria. So he had to go all through Germany, get to the English Channel, get a boat across it, get to the southern shores of Dover, then take a carriage all the way to London. So for him to get any credit, he had to have started it like maybe a year before. So, but Gottfried von Leibniz, we use his symbols, his ideas. Newton had a lot of good ideas also. Now, here's the reason. Why did he invent it? 2 reasons. In the old days, commerce. How were things shipped far distances? Yeah, ships. I mean, from India to anywhere, ships. How were things packed back then? Today, we have boxes which are perfect. You can know exactly how many put in there. But back then, you had a hookah lamp, you had a stack of seeds, you had clothes. So there was no common shape. So how many of these can fit in there? How would you determine that? No. Volume. We have to know the volume. We know how much the volume is of the ship. We know how wide it is, how tall it is from the keel, how long it is. We can figure out the volume. So that's the most we can put in there. Now, if we had boxes, length, width, and height, we have a perfect square box or rectangular box. We know exactly how we put in there. But when it comes to this, what's the volume of each of these things? Who knows? That's where calculus come about. Because once they figure that out, then we know how many of these things I can take in there. I can maximize my trip. I can make most money with the least amount of work. That's one reason. Commerce is one. Oops. And then the other was military. Newton, everybody hears about the apple tree. And it was just a tree. It was an apple tree. It had a fruit in there, but nobody knew what kind. What he noticed was this. Artillery cannons was practicing one day. They shoot a cannon, watch where it blows up. Then he did another thing. He shot her up. And he said, I could do the same thing if I lower it. So he said, there's one optimal angle that'll give me the furthest trajectory. Can anybody guess what that is? You think it's 45, not 45. It's actually 33, 33.333333. That gives you the furthest trajectory. So everything under this. So he helped the generals. Once you get this thing, you can mark exactly how far the cannon is going to shoot. So when they get to this point, you start firing. So you have to waste your bullets. But now everything beyond this point, you have one of two ways of getting it. One, you could have above the 45-degree angle mark, it'll be a high trajectory, it'll be a solid boom, or it could be below it. And then if you do that, then we'll have a bouncing Betty. So he says, all depends on what you're dealing with in the military. So he's told this idea, and that's we got a lot of money for that too. But we're not going to do that. we're going to be more like commerce people. So yeah, calculus is itself a way to figure out volumes, areas under curves with what's given to us to maximize our analysis. So that's what we'll get to. It all begins with the slope. We'll get to that. Not this week, maybe next time, but time after for sure. So this is the way I'm going to do lectures. I will live stream all the lectures. And then what I do at the end is, if not that day, the next day, I will take the recording. I'll upload it in my YouTube channel. I'll take whatever notes I have for that class so you can see what I'm writing. And you can follow along with the video. And I'll send that to you as a PDF. The reason I do that is because the biggest waste of time students have during class is taking notes. Think about it. If you're writing all this stuff down, I'm still talking. And you're missing from when you start writing to when you finish writing, you missed really all that stuff I just talked about. But this way you have everything you need. So really in class, take sparse notes of what's going on, and more so do the homework, the examples we do in class. And put your phones away. Go ahead and put it on top of the desk. This is not high school. Put it on top of the desk. You're gonna look at your phone anyway. So again, we've seen it all before. So again, if you, whatever reason, if you want to just stay home and watch this, participate at home, you can sit down in your bed on your computer, watch it, and just follow along. You heard the announcement thingy. again, if you have a question on your computer, unmute yourself, ask the question, it's gonna come over the speakers and they'll answer it. Nobody sees your face, so you can never be embarrassed. So, and you could eat and drink, sleep, whatever you want to. If you don't want to do it synchronously, live, again, I will send everything to you. So if you want to watch it later on, you can watch it later on at a different day, different time. You have more free time. So again, there's no reason for this class at all to cheat. I'll do the same thing with the homework assignments. I downloaded all the homework assignments that we have at the end of each section. I record myself solving them in a step-by-step method while I explain to you everything that's going on. It's kind of like mini lectures when I do the homework solutions. Because if you ever take a math course in Pat, you have that the lectures, the stuff in the chapter is never like the stuff in the assignments. It's never that way. So, and that's why I do it both ways, because we do the examples out of the book to have a basic idea, and then I'll do the homework assignments with you. And then don't worry about it because it's going to be the same procedure. The numbers will be changed. So when you do the homework assignment, you guys said on the bottom of the screen, I'll ask you, okay, give me another set of numbers. Let me do another problem like this so you get it right. So you see there's no real way to fail this course. There is really no real way to make anything lower than an A other than by not doing the work. So again, I will send you copies of all the notes and everything as we go through. It just tells you everything I just told you about the tests. Certification is important. We have to certify this course by this Saturday. I believe this is Saturday next week. What that means is you either have to, well, being here is one that's good enough, first off, but you have to show that you're doing the work in the class. Or it's the remind test, register and remind, send me the answers, or actually, be honest, I'll be happy to just send me anything because it's, again, I give everybody hundreds on the tests anyway. Just I want to make sure that you know how to use those. And then do the first homework assignment. Even if you get the far, as long as you send me the remind questions and the syllabus test, I'll be fat, dumb, and happy. I'll take roll next time. I have it all sign in sheet. That's what I should do today. Do that. So yeah, just put your first name, your last name, mother's maiden name, first address, your pet's name, and your bank account number. Okay. I don't need your pet number. Just print your name out. So yeah. Late work. Oh, I'm glad you asked. Thanks for asking. What you'll see on the syllabus will have assignment due dates, but that's just to keep you on pace of the course. Because life happens, I make everything due no later than 11:59 p.m. on the last day of the semester. So you can finish the semester early, or you can finish it late, or you can take it as you go along. Choice is yours. I've had students finish the course in a couple of weeks at the beginning of the semester. So again, do not, I can't stress enough, I'm going to put on a tape. Do not come to me the last week of classes and say that you couldn't do the work because of this, and this. You had 16 weeks to tell me this. All I can tell you is on the 16th week, if you tell me this stuff, I said, well, I wish I can help you. You have until 11:59 p.m. on the last day of the semester, December 7th or 8th, I put it, to finish this stuff. Because at that point, it shuts off and I do the grades. Everybody agrees with that right now. But I guarantee you, final exam week comes up, I get at least 2 or 3 of you all will come to me with some sort of pity story that you couldn't get this thing done. You couldn't do this. You couldn't do this for whatever reason. I need extra time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Unless it's unless you can prove it, a doctor's note, or if you have to bring your mortician's note if you're dead, and then I will give you an extra time. But other than that, I can't, because we have to get the grades in. They have to send them into the state. So that's muy importante. Academic honesty. I'm giving you every chance there is in passing the homework tests and exams. What's the need to cheat? Zero. Okay, great. I mean, it's like texting during class or cheating. I know what you're doing. I can tell when students cheat, because during class they don't know diddly squat, but yet on the exams they make 100. Yes, nothing shoots flags more than that. And if I a lot of times if I see that towards the end of the semester, I will have pop quizzes. I'll always reserve the right to have pop quizzes. So again, don't. I mean, be honest. If the best you can make is a C, that'll give your next professors in Calculus 2 an idea of how much more work they have to do with you than everybody else. Because if they have a class of a bunch of people mid A's, they're just going to fly. I don't have to slow down this stuff. It's just so super easy now. So please don't cheat. Withdrawal policy. You have until the 2nd of September to drop the course with a W. Anything after that is with whatever grade you have. But before you consider dropping, talk to me. If it's something that you can't control, that you just need more time, I will work with you. Because you paid for the course. You've sat in here, you've done the work. It's a shame that students drop the course without ever talking to the teacher about, listen, here's a situation. I'm thinking about dropping the course. What can I do? What are my options? I can tell you right now, maybe 2% of the students ever talk to the professors about dropping. 100% of those will have the instructor work with them, unless it's something that says, listen, we're moving away and I just can't finish. But yeah, even if you move away, we could do the work online. I mean, if you go on a vacation, I'm not stopping you from going on vacation now. You could listen, you could participate, you could do stuff online. So again, there's no reason you shouldn't. And you can't get hold of me 24/7. So before you drop, but actually that says the 7th, the 2nd. But if you look at the very top up here, it says last day to withdraw without a grade is the 2nd. With a grade is the 9th of November. Now that's important because the state and the Department of Education have started cracking down on students signing up courses, getting the student loan, student financial aid, and then dropping out. They're limiting the number of times students can drop out of school, out of classes, to stop that. So I think the limit is 6. And if you're thinking about getting your bachelor's, I would save those for the much more difficult ones later on. Remember, we're in the first 2 years of the school part here, which is we're building a foundation. These are the easy parts. Everything else after that, in your 3rd and 4th year, builds on this. So if you don't know this, you'll never get that. So I'm trying to be encouraging, but I'm sounding negative, aren't I? But I'm trying to give you the straight up facts. I mean, if you take differential equations or linear algebra or numerical analysis, all this stuff on there builds on this. Calculus 2 builds on Calculus 1. Calculus 3 builds on 1 and 2. Yeah. So again, I want you guys to pass. You guys are, I think this is where the cream of the crop starts when it comes to students. Okay, now not to burst your bubbles, but do you know where a lot of other countries in the world where the kids get in high school? They take calculus in high school. In Turkey, it's mandatory. In Saudi Arabia, yeah. So we are behind there, but you guys are here in calculus. I mean, you guys should be proud because this is the top level of the math science courses. Now this is what it looks like. Or outline. Yeah, let's forget that. It's go straight to this. As you see, this will have due dates. But again, the only due date you should know is what? December 7th, 11:59 p.m. A day that will live in infamy. Who said that and what was it about? December 7th? It was the president when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. So here we have, this is what we're going to do this week, is we'll have syllabus tests, remind tests, and we're going to review algebra. Next week, we'll start on chapter 2. The rate of change, tangent lines to curves, limits of functions, limit laws. Yes, that's when we'll start, because you have to know. Let me see, what was that? What was that name of that? How many of y'all remember this? Or H? The difference quotient. Remember that from algebra or pre-calculus? That is calculus. We're going to spend most of a semester dealing with that or some derivative of it, some combination of it. When that's what we're going to do in class. That's my job, is get you there, so everybody's on the same pace. And then next week in chapter 2, we'll start off with this, and we're going to build up from there. Unfortunately, chapter 2 is probably the most boring of all the chapters, because we'll do a lot of proof steps. How do you know that the slope of the curve is this at this point? We have to go through all the proofs of that using the limit functions and the definitions of limits. So I apologize in advance, but we have to do it just to be able to finish up this stuff. As you see, after end of every chapter, you'll have an exam. And then if everything goes right, we'll try to finish a week and a half before, so that we'll have time to review if you have any questions and to catch up all the work. And then again, whenever you're ready, you think you're good and ready, you take the final exam. All right. That's the course. That's what we're going to do. And throughout the course also, for those of you who are here, even if you're on that, I like to play Kahoots. There are a couple of Kahoot games we'll do over mathematics. That will be for bonus points as well. It also gives me a chance to see how solid is your understanding of this concept. But we'll make it a game out of it. All right, any questions? I will not keep you the entire class period if we don't need to. Once we finish the lecture, if there are any questions, I'll let you go. Yes.
So we're gonna go into integrals too.
Yes, antiderivatives. That's where we'll start. You'll see we start them right here in 4.7, antiderivatives, the integrals. Because we have to know the derivatives take us from the function to the slope. Now, what do we have? We have to be able to go backwards. If I give you the slope, you have to tell me what function it came from. You have to go both directions, and that's what that's all about. So, and again, those are the meat of the subjects. So that's what we'll finish. And we'll also have a bunch of review of our trig identities as well. So again, don't go out this today or tomorrow. It's just, as we get to it, I will review all the trig stuff for you. I'll show you the shortcuts I use when I teach my students trig stuff. And I'll give you sheets of formulas and things as we go along. Again, I'm trying to make this as painless as possible. All I need from you is answers and problems and questions and tests. All right. So if there are any questions, any more questions? All right, so as you exit, please leave your money at the door. All right, wait, I'll see y'all Tuesday, Wednesday. And just think, we have next week and then the Monday after we're gonna have class, which is Labor Day. So, yeah, awesome, yeah. So, but yeah, we'll try to finish as much as we can so we'll fall behind. So I would much rather finish early than late. What's that? Supplies? No. You have your cell phone. Yeah, your cell phone has, or even the calculator. I'll show you. Even the calculator here on your computer. How many of you ever bothered playing with this thing? If you come up here, scientific, it has everything you need. It has every function you think of. It has a graphing. You have all sorts of stuff. So yeah, again, no need to go buy a calculator. You have everything you need at your on your cell phone or here. And there are emulators that you can get for your cell phones that exactly like the TI-83. So,
Even the TA.
or yeah, or actually, if we had access to an Inspiron. That's why I helped the early college high school get started, and we had to use the Inspirons. Those things are fabulous. I mean, you enter the data, and it'll give you the function. It'll tell you what function it is that best fits the curve. It'll give you the graph. It'll tell you the volume, the area, everything.
The CAS.
On these things, or you can use whatever you want to, but again, make sure you learn the stuff first. But yeah, once you understand it, that's why I try to make it the calculators. Don't use them for the first couple of weeks. Learn to use pencil and paper. Get your. I know a lot of y'all were brainwashed in high school from using calculators, but I mean, as we saw earlier, that algebra problem, calculators. If you put in a calculator, it gives you the right answer. But it's not your fault. It's Texas Instruments. Well, actually, that's how we got polluted with calculators because about 15, 20 years ago, 30 years maybe, they were going bankrupt. And they had these warehouses full of calculators. So they say, how do we get out of this bankruptcy? So they donated all these calculators to get as a tax write-off, a loss to all these schools. Teachers loved them because they didn't have to think anymore. And the students didn't have to do any work. So, I mean, it was a win-win situation for the high schools. But now think about it. These kids, when they graduate high school, they can't do math. They need what? I learned on a Texas Instrument. So they have to go out and buy a Texas Instrument to do work at home. Their sales were skyrocketed. Oh, not anymore. They're dirt cheap now. It's the same thing happened with computers, Apple computers. Apple computer was being slaughtered by Dell, but IBM. And so what they did, they started giving them away to schools. That's why a lot of universities, like UT Arlington, the engineering department and physics, all the sciences, they use the Apple computers because the graphics cards are untouchable. I'm sorry, I can keep on blabbering about this all day. So that's how this course is going to go. I